Africa holds the last great resource frontier. Its soil contains cobalt, copper, and lithium. These minerals power the modern world. Phones, cars, and weapons depend on them. Control of Africa means control of supply. Empires once arrived with armies and flags. Today they arrive with contracts and loans. The scramble never ended, it evolved. Colonial borders still shape modern weakness. Artificial states struggle to govern unity. Infrastructure gaps slow internal development. Roads and railways define economic fate. Whoever builds them controls trade flows. Europe once dominated African extraction. Independence changed flags, not structures. Elites replaced governors, systems remained. Debt replaced change as leverage. Structural adjustment reshaped economies. Local industries collapsed under pressure. Raw exports replaced manufacturing dreams. Africa supplied value, received little power. By 2000, a new player entered quietly. China offered roads instead of lectures. No governance conditions, only repayment. Ports, railways, and dams multiplied. African leaders welcomed fast results. Beijing secured long-term resource access. Mines fed factories thousands of miles away. Western powers watched with concern. Influence was shifting without gunfire. Oil discoveries intensified global interest. Nigeria and Angola gained leverage briefly. Revenues often vanished through corruption. Populations saw little transformation. Instability became a strategic opportunity. Security firms replaced peacekeepers. Private forces protected extraction zones. Conflict and commerce overlapped dangerously. Terror groups exploited weak governance. Foreign militaries returned as partners. Bases appeared under counter-terrorism banners. Strategic locations gained new importance. The Sahel became a security corridor. Drones replaced colonial patrols. Surveillance became the new control. Data mattered as much as territory. Elections shaped foreign alignment. Media narratives influenced legitimacy. Aid flows followed strategic interests. Africa became a chessboard again. Gulf states invested in farmland. Food security drove land acquisitions. Local farmers lost ancestral ground. Export crops replaced local staples. Water rights became geopolitical jewels. Rivers crossed borders without treaties. Dams reshaped regional power balances. Ethiopia's Nile project alarmed Egypt. Infrastructure became diplomatic leverage. Technology firms entered African markets. Mobile banking leapfrogged institutions. Data became Africa's new commodity. Youth populations attracted global attention. By 2050, Africa leads population growth. Labor markets will shape future supply chains. Education gaps threaten stability. Migration pressures influence foreign policy. Borders strain under demographic shifts. Climate change accelerates every risk. Drought fuels displacement and conflict. External actors fund adaptation selectively. Aid becomes influenced during crises. Africa negotiates from unequal positions. Trade terms favor finished goods importers. Free trade promises face logistics reality. Internal markets remain fragmented. Digital infrastructure offers new hope. Satellites bypass broken land networks. Power grids remain vulnerable. Energy access defines industrial potential. Solar attracts foreign capital rapidly. Ownership determines long-term benefit. Local capacity decides real independence. History warns against extraction cycles. Value capture remains the true battle. Africa's future is still undecided. External powers prepare for competition. Influence is measured in decades. The continent stands at a crossroads. Choices now shape the next century. Dependency or autonomy hangs in balance. Control no longer requires occupation. It requires systems and incentives. Power hides inside supply chains. Africa feeds the modern world silently. But silence is no longer guaranteed. Awareness is spreading among populations. Youth demand ownership, not extraction. The old playbook is under strain. A new phase is about to begin. China now dominates African infrastructure finance. Railways link mines directly to ports. Debt repayment schedules shape policy. Asset seizure clauses raise quiet alarms. Ports double as strategic footholds. Western banks reduce long-term exposure. Private equity fills the gap selectively. Risk is priced into sovereignty. Russia enters through security contracts. Weapons replace development promises. Regime survival becomes the transaction. Influence trades for military loyalty. Wagner-style groups protect elites. Civilians pay the hidden cost. Sanctions push alliances eastward. Diplomatic isolation shifts power dynamics. African votes sway global institutions. Resolutions reflect new alignments. Turkey expands construction influence. Soft power follows mosque diplomacy. Language and culture reopen old ties. France struggles to retain relevance. Former colonies question legacy control. Currency zones restrict autonomy. Monetary policy remains externally anchored. Reform threatens entrenched interests. Coups reflect elite fractures. Foreign reactions reveal priorities. Stability is defined strategically. Democracy becomes negotiable. Social media exposes hidden deals. Leaks undermine diplomatic narratives. Youth movements bypass traditional leaders. Protest spreads faster than repression. Internet shutdowns signal fear. Technology empowers decentralized resistance, but surveillance evolves simultaneously. Imported systems monitor dissent. Data flows mirror power flows. Cyber influence targets elections. Information wars reshape legitimacy. Narratives matter as much as resources. Education reforms threaten patronage. Skilled labor reduces dependency. Brain drain weakens institutions. Diasporas gain economic influence. Remittances rival foreign aid. External actors court diaspora voices. Identity politics shape alliances. Africa negotiates between giants. Multipolarity increases bargaining space. But fragmentation weakens leverage. Regional blocs promise collective power. Execution determines real impact. Corruption undermines trust repeatedly. Transparency threatens entrenched systems. Resource nationalism resurfaces periodically. Investors react with caution. Capital flows remain volatile. Long-term planning stays rare. Short-term gains dominate decisions. Climate finance reshapes priorities. Green minerals attract new suitors. Cobalt becomes strategic currency. Battery supply chains dictate alliances. Processing location defines value capture. Export bans test foreign patience. Negotiations intensify behind closed doors. Africa's leverage is increasing slowly. Time favors prepared institutions. Legal frameworks decide ownership. Courts become geopolitical arenas. Arbitration replaces battlefield conflict. Contracts outlive governments. Future leaders inherit binding terms. Sovereignty is signed away quietly. Renegotiation carries heavy costs. Debt forgiveness buys influence. Conditional relief reshapes policy. Development becomes a bargaining chip. Narratives frame success or failure. Statistics hide lived realities. Growth without equity fuels unrest. Inequality destabilizes resource states. Elites insulate themselves globally. Assets flow offshore rapidly. Capital flight drains development. Enforcement remains selectively applied. Rule of law defines outcomes. Institutions outlast leaders. Reform requires internal pressure. External actors react, not lead. Africa's agency is underestimated. Negotiation skills are improving. Strategic patience becomes essential. Power shifts are rarely sudden. History moves through accumulation. Africa is accumulating leverage. The contest is far from settled. The decisive decade approaches. Africa's future will not be imported. It will be negotiated internally. Ownership determines destiny. Resources alone do not create power. Institutions transform wealth into stability. Education multiplies every advantage. Infrastructure must serve local industry. Processing creates sovereign leverage. Unity amplifies bargaining strength. Fragmentation invites exploitation. Transparency disrupts hidden influence. Data access empowers citizens. Accountability deters extraction abuse. Leadership vision shapes generations. Short-term gains weaken long-term power. Strategic patience builds resilience. Multipolar competition creates opportunity, but only for prepared states. Africa is no longer passive terrain. It is an active strategic actor. Global systems now depend on it. Supply chains run through its soil. Demographics shape future markets. Innovation emerges from constraint. Youth will redefine power structures. Old models are breaking down. Influence is becoming negotiable. The balance is slowly shifting. Africa's choices will echo globally. The battle is about control of tomorrow.